Okay, boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have a magnificent guest with us, one who is going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than the world renowned scholar, minister, physician, doctor, and so much more, but a great friend and brother to myself, my family, the nation, the community, and humanity. None other than Dr. Alim Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, brother Joshua. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's always great to see you and hear from you, and just really brightens up my day every time I see you, sir. So praise be to Allah.
Well, that was quite a build-up. I hope I don't disappoint. I'm not trying to be all of that.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I'm
sir.
just your brother. That's all.
Praise be to Allah. Well, we have some serious topics to discuss, but we also want to just say, may Allah be pleased with your mother, my mother. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Yes.
So thank you to everybody who's watching, all of the mothers. Thank you all very much. The first question that we have for you, sir, is there was a new pope, and could you break it down? People are making jokes, making memes. This is from Chicago. What does that matter? Could you let us know about the Pope, sir?
Well, they're saying that he is the first American pope, and of course, Mr. Trump introduced himself about a week earlier. He threw his hat into the ring.
Yes, sir.
And he said that he was the pope.
Yes, sir.
And then, wouldn't you know it, a week later from Chicago, we have someone who is allegedly the first American pope, and I don't doubt it. But he's also the first black pope in a very long time. Because if you look at his pedigree, see, he was born in Chicago, but his people came from New Orleans. And like the governor, Huey Long of Louisiana said so long ago, he said you could fit all of the pure blood white people in Louisiana for breakfast. You could have them all for breakfast at a card table. Because there's no such thing as pure blooded white people in the state of Louisiana. So when people looked into the pedigree of the new Pope, Leo the 14th, I haven't memorized all the details, but on his mother's side and also on his father's side, it's like they say in Cuba, you might claim to be white, but what about your grandmother? So his grandmother was black. I think one of his grandfathers was black. And so if you go by the rules, see, I didn't make the rules, but if you go by the rules, one drop of black blood makes you black.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I know a lot of people were rooting for the brother, the African brother. I think his name was Sirah. And they were hoping that he would be elected as the first African pope. Because, of course, the first pope was African. You see, I mean, if you talk about the foundation of Christianity, it's African. The original church fathers were all African. St. Augustine was an African. All of the early church fathers were Africans. And of course, you could say the religion, the true religion of Christianity has only been preserved in Africa, in Ethiopia. Just as, if you really want the genuine Bible, you don't read the King James version of the Bible. They actually have the original Bible in Ethiopia. That has all of the books of the Bible, the books of Enoch, the books of Jubilee. It's all in Ethiopia. And so what I'm saying is if somebody really wanted to get acquainted with Christianity in its purest form, you don't go to Europe, you don't go to Rome, you go to Ethiopia.
Okay.
Where the actual Christian faith is founded and grounded and rooted. And the original scriptures are there for anyone to read. Now, the interesting thing about Ethiopia, I've only been there once.
Okay.
And I want to go back. I want to spend a lot of time in Ethiopia because from what I was led to understand, approximately 1/3 of Ethiopians are Hebrews. 1/3 are Christians,
mm,
and the other third are Muslims.
mm,
And it's all mixed up in families and clans and tribes. That you don't have any pure Muslim tribe or some pure Christian. No, it's all mixed up like that. And all of the people, they all get along.
Mm.
And so the root of all of the three, what they call Abrahamic religions, is found in Ethiopia. So the root of Christianity, the root of Judaism, the root of Islam. See, when Muhammad, the prophet, they say originated Islam in the Arabian Peninsula, and they were under persecution. Well, where did they go find refuge? They went to Ethiopia. And when they got to Ethiopia and they recited the Quran to the Ethiopians, that wasn't news to the Ethiopians. They say, yeah, we heard that before. And then when they wanted to find somebody to announce the prayers of Islam, who did they get? They had to go get an Ethiopian.
That's right. That's right.
To bring some excitement into the prayer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You see, so Ethiopia is a wonderful place, and it's the roots of all three Abrahamic religions. And so I don't know who the head of the Ethiopian church is. But since they have all of the original artifacts that belong to Christianity,
yes, sir,
whoever the Ethiopian patriarch is probably has more legitimacy than Pope Leo XIV from Chicago. See, because when you say, well, what is the Western Christian church as opposed to the Ethiopian church or the African church? Well, the Western Christian church has been turned into a pedophile religion. I mean, when you think about all of the thousands of cases where they allege that priests engaged in sexual abuse of minors, well, there's so many cases that you have to conclude that must be the religion.
Yes, sir.
Since all of the priests carry out that practice, that must be the practice of the religion. Since you don't see them doing anything else, you don't ever see a priest in the news for something else. So that must be the religion. That must be the practice. So now they say that this Pope from Chicago, he was presiding over a whole nest of sexual predators. That he was playing the priestly shuffle game. When priest comes into notoriety in one place, so then they move him to another diocese someplace else. They shuffle him around. And then they hire high-priced lawyers to defend them in court.
Yes, sir.
So that they never are held accountable. So I think this Pope is going to be no different than any of the other popes. Right. It seems to me that the first thing he would have said upon ascending to the office of the Pope, he would have decried the genocide taking place in Gaza. But I don't think he said a mumbling word. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't think he said a mumbling word about the murders going on wholesale, even the bombing of Christian churches, the murder of nuns and priests in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Syria. You got people going around cutting the heads off of Christians in Syria. And the Pope doesn't say anything. So I don't think that, time will tell, but I don't think that people should be overly optimistic.
Yes, sir. Well, praise be to Allah. And thank you. And Dr. Alim, some people are showing love. Alaikum salam, Sister Naima. Brother Musa, alaikum salam. Sister Miriam, alaikum salam. Two Wildfire, alaikum salam. And Sister Naima says, teach. And once again, happy Mother's Day, Sister Naima, Sister Mimi, all of the sisters who are watching. I wanted to ask you about your time in Ethiopia. What did you notice, sir, when you were there?
What did I notice? Well, the reason I want to go back is because I didn't notice enough. It was more what I felt.
Okay.
What I felt among the people. Now, the time I spent in Ethiopia was just a couple of days with the World Friendship Tour. And unfortunately, one of the members of the delegation was sick. So what I remember most about Ethiopia was being in the hospital taking care of one of the delegation.
Yes,
And every
sir.
now and then I was out, and about, and I got to sample the wonderful coffee and the
Okay.
wonderful music. I mean, most people don't know that it was an Ethiopian musician that presented John Coltrane with his first soprano saxophone.
Mm,
Yeah, John Coltrane was famous on the soprano saxophone. He brought it back into jazz, but it came via Ethiopia.
beautiful.
So now my son is a musician.
Okay.
You were raised with Kush.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So now
sir.
his band did a gig in Ethiopia for about 6 weeks,
Hey, okay.
and so he has a better feel for it than me. I was just there for a few days. I got a feel, for what was going on, and I said, I got to get back here. I got to
Okay,
get
okay.
back here. But my son actually spent quite a bit more time there with his band.
Beautiful. And shout out to Kush. And I look forward to reconnecting with him and hearing his music. I would love to go to one of his performances.
Well, look on what's the music app? His band is called the Chromonauts. It's spelled with a K.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Chromonauts. Kroma. They won the Washington Area Music Award last year.
Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of semi reggae.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's hard to classify it.
Beautiful. Okay, Dr. Alim. And then people are commenting, glad to see Doc looking and speaking strong. Keep going, Dr. Alim. People saying, Assalamu alaikum. Ricky Khalid, walaikum salam, Dr. Alim and Brother Joshua. Thank you all for watching. I wanted to ask you, sir, the next thing is that's been trending every day on social media and the news. Uh, and I mean, I posted about him. Everybody's posting about the brother president, Ibrahim Toure, and Burkina Faso. Could you let us know what is that? Should we be rooting for him? Is that a good thing? Or how does that impact everybody? Is it just something that's going to empower Africa or will it empower America? Like, or how does that affect the whole world? What's going on in Burkina Faso?
Well, that's a very, very important question. And I have to admit that I need to look deeper into it.
Okay.
Because the brother is emerging as bigger than life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, recently on the West Coast, I was with an event sponsored by Risa Islam.
Okay.
And
Okay.
many people know he's got a supplement out called Intellectual Power.
Yes, sir.
And what I found out is that Risa Islam is bigger than life too. So now if we can have one on our side that's bigger than life,
yes, sir,
then I guess Africa can have somebody on their side that's bigger than life too. So now if you can take what is being presented and mostly through alternative media
yes,
as
sir.
being true, what we're looking at is the emergence or the re-emergence, I should say, of the Mali Empire. See that area of West Africa where Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Senegal, and even Chad and on into the Sahara. That's the ancient Mali Empire. So you go back 500 years ago, that was the Mali Empire. So I think what you have emerging in Africa is the re-emergence of the empires, the ancient empires. Now, what causes the confusion is because the Europeans came in and they drew all of these map lines and designations of countries, which has nothing to do with the tradition or the culture of the people. See, we're a tribal people.
Yes, sir.
See, we're not necessarily nationalistic. We're tribal. And so when you see the reconstitution of these ancient empires, what you're actually witnessing is these tribal affiliations coming back together, these tribal networks.
Yes, sir.
And then the outsider looking at it, looks at it and calls it something. But the people in that culture, they don't look at it that way at all. You see? See, the same thing is going on in the Middle East. See, what they call Iran, that's not their name. Just like they changed our name, want to call us out of our name to cause confusion.
Yes, sir.
Who is that really? That's Persia. That's Persia. That's the Persian Empire. Now, how in the world do you think that you are going to extinguish the Persian Empire?
Mm.
See, they proved in 1953 you can overthrow the Iranian state. They overthrew the government in Iran in 1953, the CIA. That was their first coup.
Mm.
But you can't overthrow the Persian civilization. See, just like they conquered China. They conquered what? The Chinese government.
Yes, sir. Yes,
at the
sir.
time. But you can't conquer the Chinese civilization.
Mm.
Just like Africa. Yeah, you enslaved Africans. You colonized Africa. But you can't conquer tribal Africa. You can't conquer that original culture. And so, yeah, it's going to be a rearrangement of all of the maps of the world. You're going to see massive rearrangements because all that artificial stuff that the Europeans put in place, that's being removed.
Beautiful.
And so that's the new world order that we're looking forward to. And we should think about how we would like to see the map changed over here.
Mm.
See, since Mr. Trump is talking about changing the map, he wants to take over Mexico, wants to send troops to Mexico, talking about making Canada the 51st state.
Yes, sir.
Talking
Yes,
about taking over Greenland. Well, okay, he's talking about territorial changes, changing the geography, changing border maps.
Yes, sir.
Geography, changing nation states. Well, I think we should get into that movement. Since they want to rearrange nation states and new designations, you know, you see all these migrants coming from South America. That's the Inca civilization, the Mayan civilization,
yes,
reasserting itself. Well, why don't we reassert ourselves?
Yes, sir.
Since the historians show that the Africans didn't get over to North America for the first time on slave ships.
Mm.
We beat Columbus here by thousands of years.
Yes, sir.
We even as recent as 332 BC.
Mm.
Captain Maui sailed from Egypt all the way to North America. That was 332 BC. He said, so we have ancient claims to this land. That's why if you go to the Grand Canyon, how come you have Egyptian artifacts in the Grand Canyon?
That's right. That's right.
Well, that's our land.
Beautiful.
And so since everybody else is rearranging the maps, I think it's time for us to rearrange the maps back the way it's supposed to be.
Maybe so right.
I'm just saying.
Yes, sir. Beautiful, Dr. Alim. You're teaching that people will bear witness all around the world. Walaikum salam, Sister Sandra. Walaikum salam. Thank you very much, says Dr. Alim and Brother Joshua. Blessings, sir. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody who's watching and continues to show love. I wanted to ask you, sir, about the fires that are going on and what do you think that represents?
You're talking about the wildfires?
Yes, sir.
In California, the wildfires in Canada.
Yes, sir.
The wildfires in Mexico. You mean the wildfires in Hawaii? You mean the wildfires in China? You mean the wildfires in Turkey? The wildfires in Portugal? The wildfires in Spain? The wildfires in Greece? Is that what you're talking about? The wildfires in France? Are you talking about the wildfires in Jerusalem? See, if you look all over the world, the whole world is on fire. Just like it's supposed to be. Isn't that what we were taught? That this world would end in fire?
Yes, sir.
It would be destroyed in fire? And so everywhere you look, fire is in every direction. They got wildfires burning in New Jersey, causing all kinds of atmospheric damage in New York City. They had 10 million people under lockdown in New York City because of wildfires in New Jersey, where just a little while ago the drones were flying around.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
I wonder if they're connected. Now, one other thing about fire. See, I don't know what your definition of fire is. See, what's your definition of fire? See, if you actually look at it from a certain point of view, the hottest fire known is what we would call nuclear fire. So when you had a nuclear meltdown of 3 reactors in Fukushima, Japan in 2011, all that radioactivity has now drifted across the Pacific Ocean to the west coast of North America. And all of the trees and the shrubs have absorbed radioactive elements. So when those trees catch on fire, the smoke is radioactive. So you hear the hoarseness in my voice?
Yes, sir.
I'm a little congested because last week, this time I was in California, breathing poison air, radioactive air. And now my body's trying to fight it off. I'm trying to do the best I can to get back to normal. So I apologize if I sound like I'm talking from the bottom of a swimming pool, but that's how I feel. So if you did, and I used to follow a website, it's disappeared now. It was put out by Veterans Today. They used to do radiological reports every week for the United States. And the last time I got a reading, like where I am outside of Washington, D.C.,
yes, sir.
9,000 rads per minute is what the reading is. Now, the hottest spots in America were places like St. Louis, Raleigh, North Carolina, places in Alabama, almost all of Southern California. These were the radiation hotspots. Colorado Springs oftentimes was number one in terms of radiation. And the rads per minute were in the thousands. Washington, D.C. was kind of in the middle, 9,000 a minute, 10,000 a minute. So now what's normal? What's normal? What is normal background radiation? How many rads per minute is normal? 0 to 20? 0 to 20? Where did I say I am right now in Washington, D.C.? 9,000. And that's just in the middle of the pack. So now wherever you are in North America, you are living inside of a nuclear fire right now. And that is one of the major causes of what they're calling turbo cancer. And I'm not just talking about the radioactive elements that are in the chemtrails or in the smoke. I'm saying radioactivity is permeating the entire environment. And that's why we know that what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us is true. That he said that America would burn for 390 years and it would take 610 years to cool off.
Yes, sir.
Well, what kind of fire burns for 390 years? Radioactive fire. He never lied. He told us exactly what was taking place. We just didn't understand. And some still don't understand. Even when you tell them.
Beautiful, Dr. Beautiful. And people are bearing witness. We got so many more questions because every time you come on there, some people will comment. Thank you. Pleasure to see you. Teach Doc. The Doc is cooking. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Doctor. May Allah continue to bless you, sir. With our permission, alaikum salam. And teach and just Dr. Alim is called the most knowledgeable. The 19th attribute of Allah, praise be to Allah. People just bear witness. Yes, sir. Thank you all for everybody who's showing love. It continues to show love. Walaikum salam, Ms. Moo, and everybody else. I wanted to ask you, sir, the event that you went to, I saw the pictures that you text out from with Brother Rizza Islam. I saw his father, Dr. Alfredi, and just a lot of pictures from the event. Can you let us know how that was and what did you say to the people?
Oh, okay. That was a very wonderful and very momentous, important event.
Yes, sir.
You know, when you think of Straight Outta Compton, you definitely don't think about science and health. So that was amazing to have 300 or 400 people straight out of Compton.
Yes, sir.
Listening to MDs and PhDs, give them the rundown on a lot of scientific issues and health issues related to reproductive health. So that was the overarching theme, was the attack on the reproductive health of our community.
Yes, sir.
Now, my understanding is that the entire event was video recorded, TV quality.
Yes,
and
sir.
Those videos are going to be made available so that the general public will get the benefit of those sessions. But we had people like Dr. Rachel Ross, who is from the area there. They brought in the great Christina Parks.
Okay.
From Grand Rapids, Michigan, PhD. I actually got a chance to meet for the first time in person the great Dr. Judy Mikovits,
Mm.
when we talked about some of the debates we had back in the day with Anthony Fauci.
Okay.
Well, she was at NIH fighting Anthony Fauci on the inside while I was fighting Anthony Fauci on the outside. We didn't know each other. I used to see her name on research papers all the time, but I didn't know who she was.
Yes,
and then
sir.
she was in Compton, giving people the benefit of her knowledge. So it was a very wonderful conference. And I think the highlight, among many highlights, it was a 2-day conference. You had literal giants presenting. Some were piped in. One of the developers of the supplement called Intellectual Power.
Yes,
I can't call his name correctly, so I won't mess it up. But he called in Zoom style from St. Lucia and gave a very excellent presentation on the herbal basis of the supplement. Now you asked what was my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Well, see, Reverend Alfredi is actually Risa's stepfather.
Okay.
And had a lot to do with raising Risa. So I got a call from Reverend Alfredi. And for people who don't know who Reverend Alfredi Johnson is, he's the top preacher in the Church of Scientology. He is absolutely awesome. He's a King scholar. He has studied everything about Martin Luther King that there is to know.
Okay.
And then he combines that with Scientology and Dianetics. He's just an awesome brother. And that was one of the highlights of my trip, was to spend time with Reverend Alfredi. But the presentation that I gave was based on a request made by Reverend Alfredi and Risa Islam. I didn't know anything about his product. I didn't know anything about Intellectual Power. They gave me a call. They said, we have this supplement. It helps people's brain function, brain fog, improves memory, alertness, all those cognitive things. At least those are the claims. So they asked me, would you help us to verify scientifically that those claims are actually true and provable?
Yes, sir.
And so I did a little research project over the next 6 weeks or so. And I presented those findings at the conference. And just to summarize, the supplement works very well. It works dramatically well for those that it works for. There seems to be two groups. There's a group that it doesn't work for at all. And then there's a group that when it works, it really works. And so the average response in cognitive function, an increase of 280% on average. And I had some people, their cognitive function increased 400%. And so it's just a tremendous boost to the mentality. But also, unexpectedly, we found out that it also gives a big boost to the immune system. We weren't expecting that at all, but it also doubles the immune function. So these are the preliminary results that I presented. And so we're going to see what the next phase is. And I'm sure there's going to be some distribution opportunities that are going to be made available.
Yes,
I'm waiting to hear about that myself. I don't really know anything about the business side of it. I just did the science to make sure that what's being put on the market is something that we can vouch for. Now, one other point. See, he saved the best for last. Risa did.
Yes, sir.
He introduced a sanitary pad for women that is non-toxic. And a lot of the women that were in the audience have already been using this sanitary pad. They all stood up and vouched for it. It shortens the cycle, lessens the bleeding, and it does not contain any of the toxics. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Take your time.
And it's completely non-toxic.
Beautiful.
Let me clear my throat.
Yes, sir. I'll go to commercial break while you do that. We have a brief 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast. We are grateful for every like, share, subscription, as well as anonymous cash apps and the super chats. Thank you all very much. We're coming right back to Dr. Alim. We just have a brief 60-second commercial break. If you all, please let us know what city you all are watching from. And if you all would like to be sponsors, to have your business sponsored, please reach out to me via social media. We'll be right with you all. 1 second. There we go. Has street premiere media production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out if you need any of that. Sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country. Sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ. My two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Beautiful. All right, there we go. Yes, sir. That's her name. And people, I just want to read some of the comments. Thank you very much. People bear witness what they learned from the conference, I'm assuming, and from Brother Rizza Islam. And thank you all very much. It was a great event from the Brother Rizza in California. Make it make sense, Dr. Alim. Allow walk by you breaking it down. Thank you for people watching from East St. Louis and everybody who's watching all around the country. Thank you all very much. Yes, sir. Okay, Dr. Alim, back to you, sir.
Hold on.
Okay, you ready? Okay, yes, sir. So I wanted to ask you I wanted to share a clip, and then I wanted to ask you about the importance of African unity and the Black people in America. That's what we'll deal with that first, because there seems to be some of the Africans and Black people now are united in America. People, they feel like we're not, we're lazy or sometimes that connotation, and we treat them wrong, and why are we not united? But I wanted to just share this clip again of you. It's one of my favorite clips of you speaking, being in Africa. 1 second. I really enjoy it. All right, here we go. Dr. Alim, brief clip. 1 second of our brother. All right, 1 second. Here we go.
Soldiers into that kind of war.
This would not be the minister's first time traveling to this part of the world on a peace mission.
Well, this is not a diet that can sustain life.
And no meat, you said.
It's a slow death for the whole nation, not just the little babies, but for the whole population. And of course, similar sanctions are in effect in other countries around the world. And so this is genocide. That's the only word that describes what is taking place here.
But I cannot use my brain for treating these children. We have no facility. And we decided not to leave home.
The second missile.
Dr. Alim, right there with me, sir?
Wow.
Yes, sir.
That was the World Friendship Tour. We were in Iraq. That video was from the Saddam Hussein Hospital for Children.
Yes, sir.
And we were being given a tour. And what we were being shown and what you saw in the video are the devastating effects of American sanctions against Iraq at that time. But don't forget, there's nations all around the world today that are under the same kinds of sanctions. There's babies dying in Gaza just like that. There's babies dying in Lebanon, dying in Syria, dying in Iran. They're dying like that all over the world because of American sanctions. How long has Cuba been under American sanctions? Even Iran has been under sanctions since 1953. When America first overthrew the government in Iran, 1953. So we see the devastating effect of sanctions. So when you hear that word in the news and they talk about we're going to impose sanctions on Russia, we're going to impose sanctions on China, we're going to impose sanctions on this country. That's what sanctions produce. Sanctions is just another word for genocide. And now one of the things I would say, Brother Joshua, is, you see, we can't divorce ourselves from that. See, until we do divorce ourselves from that. See, right now, our national identity, as far as anybody in the world is concerned, is American. So what you just showed was our genocide. See, what's taking place in Gaza is our genocide. See, the bombs that are being dropped in Lebanon and Syria and other places around the world, those are bombs that we paid for.
Yes,
See,
sir.
we can't say that that's Trump's war, or that's Biden's war, or that's the government doing that, or that's the CIA doing that. No, we live in a republic that is of, by, and for the people.
Yes, sir.
So that's us doing that. So then what that means for each and every one of us as an individual, how can we escape the judgment of God? Since our hands are dripping with the blood of Palestinians, our hands are dripping with the blood of people from all over the world because we finance their genocide.
Yes, sir.
So what is it that we must do in order to divorce ourselves from that guilty verdict? To prove to Allah and his messenger in the world that we didn't have nothing to do with that we're not with that.
Yes, sir.
But until we do that, then we are just as guilty as we say Trump is guilty. We're just as guilty as we say Bibi Netanyahu is guilty, because Bibi Netanyahu couldn't do anything without your tax dollars. And you keep paying it. You vote for the politicians that continue perpetual war. So how can you escape the judgment of America as America is being judged? And so many people are wondering, why are all these terrible things happening to me and my family? I thought it was only supposed to happen to the devil. Well, who do you think the devil is? It's the people like you who tolerate the evil that you see all around you, and you pretend that you have nothing to do with it. That is not your responsibility. And so that's my little rant, Brother Joshua.
No, sir, you did.
You see, because that brought back unpleasant memories. But they're not even memories, because new memories like that are being created as we speak.
Yes, sir. Okay, great. And you're teaching to bear witness, and people are bear witness all around the country. Brother Thomas said he's out of Washington, D.C. Walaikum salam. Thank you very much. Man, make us think. Yes, sir. This is powerful. It's fire emojis, black fists, and all that good stuff. Okay, the reason I talked about the African unity with black people in America is some of my closest friends were from Africa. Their parents are straight from fresh off the boat, as they would say. But I grew up with them, and we were cool. It was, black and African. But then I see in other places and on social media, it's like, I'm black, and then they're like, nah, but you ain't Nigerian. You don't know where you're from, or you got the slave master's name. Why is it important that black people in America and Africans who are brought, who come here later in time, or their parents are immigrants or whatever, why is it important that we unite?
Well, it's because we're the same people. See, it's unnatural for us to be disunited.
Yes, sir.
And the only thing that disunites us is ignorance and the lies that were told by our oppressors.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you think about the lies that we were told about Africans, not so much your generation, but I'm old enough to have been in kindergarten, and the first reading book that I was given was Little Black Sambo. You see, so what impression was being formed, even as recent as that in my lifetime?
Yes, sir.
Well, now, the first trip that I made to Africa was to Kenya, and we didn't have any problems getting along while we were there. I was there with Brother Elijah Muhammad. Okay. This is when we came back with the news about Cameron.
Yes, sir.
And so we got very familiar with one another, a group of Kenyans working in a business office. And so when all of the business was over and we started socializing with one another, we found out that we had so much in common. And then along the way, the two of us, we wanted to know, well, what tribe are you from?
Yes, sir.
What tribe are you from? What tribe are you from? And all of the Kenyans and all of the Africans, they started looking at one another. What tribe are you from? They had to think about it because that was the last thing on their mind. That was the first thing on our mind, because we have been indoctrinated to think, that all the trouble in Africa is all about tribalism and all kinds of stuff like that. And that's how everything is run. And yes, there is a traditional tribal element all across Africa.
Yes, sir.
But on the other hand, when you're talking with modern, down-to-earth, educated Africans, it ain't about that at all. Now, just as we were told stories about Africans swinging in trees and, you know, eating baboons, they even blamed AIDS. They said it was Africans, you know, having sex with green monkeys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Even as early as the war in Vietnam, they were telling the Vietnamese that the black soldiers had tails like monkeys.
Yes, sir.
See, just yesterday. So now, when we got comfortable with one another in Kenya, you know what the Africans accused us of? Accused Black Americans of.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what they have been told about us?
No, sir.
They said that the reason that Africa is so poor was because that when we came to America, we took all the gold and all the silver from Africa, and that's why we're living in mansions in America. And they had the facts to prove it. They showed us pictures of Kobe Bryant living in a mansion. They had all the rap stars, all the movie stars, and all the mansions and the limousines. So that was proof to the Africans that the reason why they were so poor was because we stole all of the resources from Africa and took it to America. Because that's what the white folks told them. So you see, we have to share these stories with one another. What did they tell you? What did they tell us? You see, and start comparing notes.
Yes,
and then
sir.
when we find out that in the middle of all that confusion, in the middle of all that disunity, is the wide open enemy to the both of us. And so we need to close ranks as best we can, you know, and squeeze the enemy out through our unity.
Beautiful teaching, definitely. Praise be to Allah. And people are bearing witness all around the country says, divide and conquer. That's right. The same story as usual, nothing but the truth. People talking about Tarzan, teach Dr. Alim. This is beautiful. And this is amazing. Thank you all very much. And okay, excellent. All right, thank you all very much. I wanted to ask you, Dr. Alim, today, first of all, happy birthday to my brother Rashad. So shout out to you, Rashad. I know he's watching. It's his birthday, but it is also 92 years ago. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was born. It's his birthday, so we sending love and positive energy to him. For someone who I've known him my whole life, so I have nothing, you know, some great stories, but it's always been it's never been a doctor. I never worked with him like you did and have the same experience as you, nowhere near Million March and all that kind of stuff. It's been more of a familiar situation, but nothing like you. Could you just let us know your favorite story of the minister, sir?
Well, I think that would be an impossible thing to do because there would be so many stories to choose from.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But let me do something a little bit different.
Okay.
A little bit more serious.
Yes, sir.
You see, because you said 92 years old, correct?
Correct.
And so we celebrate the birth of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that long ago. Now, we never celebrated birthdays in the Nation of Islam prior to 75.
Okay, yes, sir.
I'm a little bit surprised at how much we do celebrate such things nowadays because we never celebrated anybody's birthday except Master Farad Muhammad's.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now we celebrate all kinds of birthdays.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
that's natural. That's natural. But now one of the traditions in the celebration of anybody's birthday is you want to give them something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it's one thing to wish somebody happy birthday, but what are you going to give them as a gift to show your sincerity? Well, I would say the most significant thing that Minister Farrakhan ever said to me, to get back to your question, I don't know if it's really a story, is that he did not think that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad would be pleased with him if he left the Nation of Islam in the condition that it was in. That was in 2000 and that was in the year 2000. And now we're in the year 2025. If you would say, what was the most significant personal thing that he ever said to me?
Yes, sir.
It was that. So now he has been blessed to be with us 92 years. have been blessed to have him with us 25 years after he made that statement to me.
Yes, sir.
Now, what would be the consequences if Allah had taken him from us before now? Then he would have been taken from us before he would have a chance, or we would have a chance, to correct the displeasure of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. What greater gift could we give to Minister Farrakhan than to remove him from the displeasure of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Yes, sir.
What greater blessing could he have received than an extension of life to keep him around so that we would have a chance to rescue him from the displeasure of Allah and the displeasure of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Beautiful.
Now, this was the topic this morning with prayer and fasting group. See, what way do we have of saving Minister Farrakhan from the displeasure of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? It's by building the 9 ministries.
Okay,
That's
yes,
the
sir.
only way that we can realistically change the condition of the nation of Islam so that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wouldn't be displeased with Minister Farrakhan. And before I go on any further, if the Honorable Elijah Muhammad would not be pleased with Minister Farrakhan if he left the nation of Islam in this condition, how pleased would the Honorable Elijah Muhammad be with me? Since I have a plan, I was the chairman of the commission, I got the written down plan.
Yes, sir.
So how pleased would the Honorable Elijah Muhammad be with me if I left the nation of Islam in the condition that it's in? And by extension, how pleased would the Honorable Elijah Muhammad be with you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you left the nation of Islam in the condition that is in, how pleased would he be with any of us? And certainly if he would be displeased with the minister who's at the top, he would have to be displeased with all of us underneath him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So my plea to the prayer and fasting group was, hey, let's get busy. Let's save the minister. Let's save ourselves. Let's save ourselves from the 9 miseries that we are now suffering.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you look in all of the 9 areas of the 9 ministries, those are all the areas of our present day suffering. We're suffering in all of those areas. And we're suffering only because we didn't build the ministry for that area. And so if we want to turn our condition into one that is pleasant, see, what about our condition would be displeasing to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? Well, if you read the lesson, it says very clearly that the greatest desire of our teacher and leader is to put us in heaven at once while we live.
That's right. That's right.
So the longer we delay building the 9 ministries, the longer we're going to stay in hell to the displeasure of our God, messenger, and teachers. So what's wrong with us? So when I thought about it, Brother Joshua, I said, well, maybe Risa Islam's supplement is right on time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Maybe we don't have sense enough to build the 9 ministries. Maybe our intellectual power is so diminished that we don't have sense enough to do what we need to do to set ourselves in heaven. And maybe we do need an intellectual boost of some sort to get our intellectual power up to the point where we can look around and say, oh, we really do need a ministry of education to educate our children. We really do need a ministry of health and human services. Maybe we're not smart enough right now to even understand what we need, because we were diagnosed with mental death. And whoever came up with a remedy for mental death, we found out that we were mentally dead, but whoever cured us. So maybe that's why we're not doing what we're supposed to do. And that's why all of us are under the displeasure of Allah and his messenger. So what does the Quran say? The Quran says work. So Allah and his messenger and the believers will see your work. And then maybe Allah will turn to you mercifully, for he is the oft returning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The merciful. Don't we need mercy?
Absolutely.
Have mercy, Lord.
Thanks to Allah.
We're going to try to do better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, well, excellent. And people are bearing witness to the 9 ministries. And it seems like the last few guests I've had on have been speaking about the importance of the non-ministry. So praise be to Allah. Thank you. So Dr. Alim's dropping gems. Dr. Alim just gave us a virtual slap in the face. It's time to go to work. We have so many people. Thank you that need to work on the non-ministries. Thank you very much, and thank you what people saying teach. I wanted to ask you, sir, about I was working on with my staff about current events, and why do you think it's important that we should be able to, every time you come to people's podcasts, you can talk about the teachers of Most Hon Elijah Muhammad, but make it relevant to the current events, what we are facing with today? Because I really want the younger generation to know that everything that we said, everything that the messenger taught, the ministers is teaching for all of these years is real in 2025. How are you able to always break things down to current events like that?
Well, I think it's pretty a straightforward answer to that. I just pay attention to what's going on. And what I find is what I find is that a lot of people just don't open their eyes and look. They don't open their ears and listen. I don't know what they're doing with their time. But we live, I'm sorry, my throat is so
yes, sir. We gonna hold you.
We live in an information age. They used to call it the information superhighway.
Yes, sir.
It's even more than that now. It used to be there were only 3 major networks where you could get the news, and only some major newspapers here and there. But now everybody has a channel. You have a channel. I have a channel. Everybody has a channel.
Yes, sir.
I do the Your Immunity Project every Tuesday at 3 p.m. I do the 19th Element every Wednesday at 9 p.m. So how many podcasts are there? How many alternative news sources are there? But people being creatures of habit, some people, they don't look at anything but what they were looking at 10 years ago.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Some people just have the TV set on CNN. And so they're just listening to propaganda 24/7, 24/7, 24/7. That's all they know. The other part of the answer is, how do I know how to recognize the trends in current events? To rephrase your question.
Yes, sir.
It's because I read a lot of books. I read a lot of history. So when I'm looking at what's taking place with, say, Captain Ibrahim Toure in Burkina Faso.
Yes, sir.
Well, since I know a little bit about the history of the Mali Empire 500 years ago, well, I know what I'm looking at. I know what I'm looking at. Since I know what the French did and the British did and other people did to Africa and other parts of the world, well, I see the same policies, the same trends. For example, Brother Joshua, you're a history buff.
Yes, sir.
So now, what was the basic British Empire policy? What was the basic policy of the British Empire when they ruled Jamaica, India, China, Singapore, all over the world? They had colonies in Africa. All over. What was the basic policy of the British Empire? That if you were a governor general, you were being sent out to a British colony somewhere. Okay. What were your basic instructions?
I'm not going to guess wrong. So what you got to tell me? That
Number 1.
Okay.
Do nothing. Number 2, have nothing done. Number 3, allow nothing to be done. That's basic British Empire policy.
Okay.
Do nothing, have nothing done, allow nothing to be done. So now bring that up to current events.
Yes, sir.
Anytime you see a situation where nothing is being done, nothing is being called to be done, and nothing is being allowed to be done. That's British Empire policy being carried out somewhere. So when you see someone like Captain Ibrahim Toure trying to get something done, he's branded as enemy number 1. Why? Because he's doing something. Because he's having something done. because he's making something happen. Well, that's a violation of colonial power and colonial policy. You're not allowed to do anything. So we have sometimes neo-colonial minds, even among African people.
Yes, sir.
So it's not uncommon in many Black organizations that you have a colonial-minded leadership, and they consciously or unconsciously follow British Empire policy. Because when you look at their organizations over decades, you have to ask the question, what did they ever do? What did they ever have done? And when somebody tried to do something, why did they block it? Because it's the British Empire.
Mm.
That's the policy of the British Empire. So what I'm saying is, that's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that history is best qualified to reward our research.
Yes, sir.
Because when you see how the British used to run their colonies centuries ago, well, you see the same thing taking place today, with the same mentality taking place in different places, in different manifestations. And then you just bring that out so people can understand it.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. You
That's
teach it.
called the science of history.
Mm.
People think history is just memorizing facts. No, it's not. You do have to memorize some facts, but the most important thing is learning how to think with those facts in a scientific way. So that when you understand the science of history, then just like any science, it gives you the power of prediction.
Yes, sir.
And in survival situations, the most important thing to know is what's next. If you don't know what's next, you're getting ready to be the next victim.
Mm. Excellent teaching, Dr. Alim. People bear witness all around the world. This is this is teaching. Yep. Stop, block, discourage colonial policy. This is on target. Come on, man. This needs to be viral, powerful. Yes, sir. Excellent, excellent guest per usual. Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Okay, now Dr. Alim, we got two more questions for you. We don't want to spend your voice, but I wanted to ask you about there are young people who don't know about the Abundant Life Clinic and all of the work that you done for so many years, and when you did there and around the country, how can people who are in the medical field who want to help in start their own clinics and do something in the community, what advice would you give to them?
Well, again, that's a good question. It's a necessary question, and of course, the answer to that is to be found in the construction of the Ministry of Health.
Okay, yes, sir.
See, my Abundant Life Clinic for all of those years was just a stand-in for a real Ministry of Health.
Mm-hmm.
See, when we went on the first World Friendship Tour, I held the title as the Minister of Health and Human Services for the Nation of Islam.
Beautiful.
I had these beautiful embossed business cards. I'm passing them out in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Senegal, everywhere we go. We passing out. I'm the Minister of Health, Human Service, the Nation of Islam. When I got back home from the from the World Friendship Tour, my desk was stacked up with requests from all these countries where I had dropped my card. Please send us 500 nurses. Please send us 300 ventilators. Please send us this. Please send us that. We need this. We need that. Why? Because I'm the Minister of Health and Human Services of the Nation of Islam, and I have a big, beautiful business card that I dropped on your desk when we came by on the World Friendship Tour. And you quite naturally came to the assumption that we must be doing it big back in America. So yeah, send me 500 beds. Send me 6 ventilators. Because you got it like that, right?
Mm.
But again, see, that's false pretenses. We didn't have anything like that.
Mm.
See, so someone's asking me, to kind of pat myself on the back for some of the meager accomplishments of the Abundant Life Clinic, when all that was just a mere substitute for what was really needed.
Yes, sir.
I didn't go to medical school to have something called the Abundant Life Clinic. I went to medical school to have a hospital for Muhammad. So don't ask me about some little 2-bit clinic in the ghetto section of town. Yeah, I mean, that's the best I could do by myself. And I'm not disparaging myself, but hey, let's not get carried away.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Like that's big stuff. That's not big stuff. That's hardly anything at all.
Mm.
And so here I am, 76 years old. I'm wondering, will I live to see the day when there's a hospital for Muhammad? Yeah, I'm wondering, will I live to see the day? Or will I die before that day comes about? And when you think about it, how unnecessary that is, Brother Joshua. See, if you just go back to the time of the Million Man March, 1995, I had organized the whole National Medical Association to support the Million Man March. We had the president of the National Medical Association standing. They wouldn't let her speak. The most they would let her do was stand next to me. We had 24,000 black doctors organized, ready to do a black healthcare system. I asked the 2 million people that were standing out there, how many of you would switch over your health coverage to a black system if we developed it and handed it to you? All of them said they would do it. We were talking about something that was worth $6 or $7 billion.
Mm.
All we had to do was organize the Ministry of Health and Human Services, and we would have been dealing with $6 billion. And then we wouldn't have questions like that coming up. What advice can you give us for trying to set up some kind of practice or trying to do this or trying to, wait a minute. That's not a good example for you.
Mm.
I'm ashamed in one sense, Joshua, of my career. I'm ashamed that this is all I've been able to do. When I think about all the blessings that have been given to me, and this is the all I could do with it is have some little ghetto clinic. So, I mean, again, I'm not beating up on myself, but I'm just saying, hey, let's be realistic about this thing.
Yes, sir.
We haven't hardly done nothing yet.
Mm.
Don't get all excited about nothing. Let's do something first. So I think you said you had another question.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much. People say teach. This is powerful. All praise due to Allah. Yes, sir. Okay. Well, all right. Well, I don't want to ask you that. All right. So for our last question, we just want to know what do we have to look forward to in the rest of the 2025, sir?
Unfortunately, what you have to look forward to is not very good at all.
Mm.
What you have to look forward to is war. What you have to look forward to is famine. What you have to look to is poverty and want and chaos and confusion. What you have to look forward to is widespread death. What you have to look forward to is the greatest challenge to your and my survival that has ever been faced by any people at any time. So the question really should be how adequately prepared are we to face this greatest challenge to your and my survival? You have to understand, Uncle Sam is broke. Donald Trump went down there to Fort Knox and found out there's no gold. So what's he going to do? So he's got to go around the world causing trouble trying to get some gold. And of course, with the tariff war, all the ships have turned around in the Pacific. They're unloading the last ships in Los Angeles Harbor right now. And after those ships are emptied, there's no more goods coming into America. So the question is, if you want to know how 2025 is going to look for you, hey, how much food do you have stored away? How much food do you have growing in your garden or on your farm? Do you have a cow yet? Do you have chickens? Do you have chickens laying eggs for you? What are you doing to purify your water? What are you doing to purify the air that you're breathing? How are you going to take care of your health care? How are you going to give birth to your children? How are you going to educate your children? How are you going to keep yourself safe from the marauding gangs, hungry people? This is going to be the Hunger Games for real. It's not a movie. It's going to be your real life and death. You see, so this is the last minute. Even the mainstream media is telling you that in a couple of weeks, the shelves are going to be completely empty. You already don't have any money. So one of the best things that you could do, if you have the possibility of doing it, and maybe some of you don't even have the possibility of doing it, you need to convert all of your dollar assets into gold and silver coins right away, Monday. Take all your dollars, all of your bank accounts, all of your IRAs, everything that is denominated in US dollars. You need to take that to a coin shop and buy as many gold coins and silver coins as you can. Because in another day or so, see, look what Mr. Trump is faced with. See, you have to have sympathy for the poor guy. He has to put up a trade barrier called tariffs because America has to come up with $1 trillion a month to cover the trade deficit. $1 trillion a month. And then on top of that, you're talking about 2025. Well, this is the year that, according to Janet Yellen, she set up all of these treasury bonds that countries around the world have bought. All of that is coming due in 2025. So you have $9 trillion in foreign debt that has to be paid in 2025, and $1 trillion a month to cover the trade deficit. Plus, you already have the $37 trillion national debt. So what does that sound like to you? That sounds like they elected Mr. Trump to be president because he's a bankruptcy specialist. And so he is overseeing the bankruptcy of America, the foreclosure of America towards the rest of the world. And he's putting up a big act for the domestic crowd, but really in the end, this is all about the bankruptcy of America. And it means the bankruptcy of you and me, unless we take the exit out of it that Allah has provided for us. He didn't come for us to go down in bankruptcy. He didn't come for us to go down in poverty. He didn't come for us to go down in flames. He came to lead us out with great substance, like the Bible said.
Yes, sir.
So brother, I guess I've got on my preacher stand.
I know, we love that. That's what we love. We love that.
But you see, that's really the way it is. And your previous question was, how to relate the teachings to current events.
Yes, sir.
Well, the teachings are current events. What do you think the teachings are? The teachings are the most current event that is taking place in the world.
Yes, sir.
And so when we neglect the teachings, you see, then we don't understand what we see, on the news programs. So thank you very much for another opportunity to be with you and the People's Podcast. It's always wonderful. The spirit is great. And I hope that we have a wonderful continuing relationship going forward into the future. Give the greetings to your dad, and I hope he's recovering, as we all hope he should.
Yes, sir, I will. And we love you, Dr. Alim. And so many people, the comments, are always positive, and people who text and call me about you, it's just great. And like you said, I love history. I always go back and watch the lectures, and you are played a pivotal role in my childhood, my development, but in my adulthood, for sure, with the People's Podcast, of always being an intelligent Black man, a thinking Muslim. And I aspire to be one of, just like you, somebody who can think their way through things with the teachings, but as well as the schooling and all that.
That's right.
I respect you very much, Dr. Alim, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Please let your son know that I will be looking up his music on Spotify.
Okay, the Chromonauts.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I wrote it down. And everybody's saying we needed this. The teachers give the proper narrative for everything wrapped in falsehood. We love when Doc is a guest. Praise be to Allah. Beautiful interview. Oh my God, this is people just bear witness. And okay, I don't know, but all right. Thank you very much. And this is beautiful, powerful message and testimony. On that.